Hi, I'm John Nerrill, and welcome to the Mid-Career GPS podcast. If you're feeling stuck in your career and overwhelmed by what steps to take, I can help you. As an executive and career transition coach, I help my clients prepare, position, and promote who they are and what they do to show up and find a job they love or love the job they have. It's time to start building your mid-career GPS. So let's get started. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are enjoying the holiday season, and I'm excited to bring you this third and final Best of 2021 episode. In this episode, I'm going to share with you some of the best clips to help you find the job you love or love the job you have as you build your mid-career GPS. Today, you are going to hear from 10 of my guests, all of whom have navigated tremendous change during their mid-career journey. They're going to share some hard advice that they've learned from their experiences so that you can navigate your circumstances and situations differently and you don't encounter the same pitfalls and you can learn from their lessons. Now, first up is Jennifer Miller. Jennifer has been a client of mine for years, and I am so honored I get the opportunity to work with her and be her coach. Now, over the years, Jennifer has done some really hard work around what it means to own her career and why it wasn't progressing quicker than she had wanted. A lot of our coaching work has centered around her having intentional conversations. And these intentional conversations were designed to help her get the information she needed to help her decide what was going to be next for her career.
I would really say you have to own it. And I laugh that I say that now because I have to be honest. We have there was an HR person at different parts of my career that every time I heard them say, you've got to own your own career, it was like nails on a chalkboard to me because I felt like it was a cop-out in a way. But after I've done some work, I get it now. Like, whenever I'm faced with a situation, and this doesn't mean I let people off the hook. So again, I want to be clear about that. It's not being a pushover and letting people off the hook for treating you badly. But when I wasn't getting where I wanted to get, I had to stop and look at myself and say, what am I not doing that doesn't allow them to see my value? It's, there's something, whether I'm not communicating what my aspirations are, but it was looking within that made me realize that I needed to be courageous and have those conversations and get the feedback. But before, I didn't realize that I wasn't allowing that vulnerability, if you will. And it was a lot easier to point fingers. Why am I being overlooked?
This year, Jennifer earned a fabulous promotion as a director at a Fortune 50 company. And I am excited to see what 2022 has in store for her and her career. Tammy Gooler Loeb and I connected because of a mutual connection with Natalie Siston. Natalie is an Amazon bestselling author for her book, Let Her Out. And Natalie was kind enough to write the foreword for my book, Your Mid-Career GPS. As Tammy said, any friend of Natalie's is someone I need to talk to. Yes, the power of networking. And when we met, Tammy and I hit it off instantly. Tammy has this incredible energy and thoughtful way of communicating. She's a phenomenal coach and the host of the Work from the Inside Out podcast. Tammy summed up so eloquently what gets us all stuck in our careers.
Fear. Fear of all kinds of things, right? So fear and maybe a sense of greater responsibility for other people or fear of what other people will think. And I think also what comes out of that fear might be that they're not trusting themselves. They stop believing that they can do something else. Or, they're afraid of what might happen if they make a change. So all the what ifs, but underlying all of that is fear. And if they could recognize what that fear is about, knowing that really the fear is a made up story, because they don't know what would happen if they actually dipped a toe in the water of some new territory that might be really, really engaging and fulfilling and meaningful to them.
We've all been fearful. Listening to Tammy, we can all go back to those points in our lives and careers when we were afraid to make a career move, accept a new job offer, take the leap to a new company, or even venture into entrepreneurship. When we call out the fear, we put it in front of us, and then we decide what we want to do with it. We know there are hard days ahead of us, and especially along our mid-career journey. For Sarah White, she knows this only too well. This year, Sarah ran for a representative seat in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And as a fellow Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce member, I followed Sarah's campaign. She handled it with kindness and grace. And it wasn't always easy for her, given the comments and posts she had to listen to and read in light of our tumultuous political climate. Hard days make us stronger, but it's because of those hard days that we get the insights and perspectives as we move forward.
To appreciate what I'm going through as I'm going through it. Like, the hard days taught me the biggest lessons. And you take those hard days and you're not sure that you want to get up and even go back to that job tomorrow or whatever that is. But when you really take it for what it's worth, take the knowledge from it that you can gain, even those hard days become important.
Thank you, Sarah. Embrace the hard days. Get ready to feel all of the feels. When we do, we learn more about ourselves and identify what's important to us. A lot of you have been interviewing for jobs, so hard days might be a little familiar there. There's certainly an expectation about interviewing for jobs and the excitement about potentially getting that offer. In 2021, we saw more companies move to what's called one-way interviewing. This is when a candidate receives a link to answer a series of questions, but there isn't a live person on the other end. When I talked to Jeremy Tolan from Spark Hire, we talked about how candidates can prepare better for these interviews so they can show up to move on to the next round. As our conversation wrapped up, Jeremy shared some terrific advice about what you say yes or no to as you build your mid-career GPS.
The advice that I'm going to give is something that I learned about when I was at a workshop for sales managers, and it had to do with understanding, what do you say no to? So really understand what do you not want to commit to, and it sounds kind of negative, but really it's actually a positive thing, because a great way to frame this is think about, what do you say yes to in your life, both personally and professionally? What's really most important in both your professional life, your personal life? What are your must-haves? And really identify, you might even make a checklist. What are these must-haves that you need in your personal or professional life? And really think about from that, like, what are things so that you're not overextending yourself, you're not taking and pursuing a career or a role, a company that you really shouldn't be, because it's not aligned with what you say yes to. So really understand, what are the things that you say no to that you cannot commit to? And that's going to just stem from, what are the things that are most important to you, these must-haves that you're always going to say yes to.
Thinking about what you say yes or no to is an empowering moment. It's one of the great things I truly believe about being a mid-career professional. You have some experiences, and you're clear about what you want for yourself and your family. When I met Jessi Shuraleff over a year ago, I could immediately tell that she was a force to be reckoned with. As a former Google executive, Jessi's mid-career moment told her that something had to change in her life and career. She left a well-paying job to do something bigger and bolder than she has ever done in her career. Please make sure to check out Jessi's podcast, This Is My Truth. Here, Jessi shares what her theme was for 2021.
The theme, we've talked about this, John, you and I, a little bit, like the theme for me for 2021 is F the handcuffs. And handcuffs being so many different things, right? Like limiting beliefs, labels we consciously or unconsciously put on each other. But, the most pressing one, given my decision, was the golden handcuffs, because, I was paid really well for what I did. And for those of you listening who are not familiar with what golden handcuffs are, it's, financial incentives that companies give to employees to keep them there. And, it's real. It's like a legitimate thing. And
absolutely.
So I share sort of that my process took a few years, because it also took my husband and I several years to get on the same page, like emotionally, but also financially, to be able to make this leap. And, I think those are all important things that we had to consider for our own journey.
I have truly enjoyed following Jessi's journey this year. It's incredible what she has been able to create for herself and her family. Thank you, Jessi. You inspire all of us to go after what we want. Now, we make some monumental decisions as we build our mid-career GPS. We face the fears, questions, concerns, doubts, and excitement. We get all of the feelings. And one thing so many of us do is seek validation for whether or not we're doing the right thing. Felicia Shanken is the founder of the Philadelphia Women's Networking Connection and PWNC Foundation Incorporated. Felicia has been recognized as one of the top 50 most influential women of 2021 by VIP Global Magazine. And she is the host of the Unapologetically Me podcast, a must listen. Felicia shares this powerful tip that has served her well along her career journey.
1, do not let anyone know what you're doing. Do not tell anyone what you're doing. And the reason why is you don't want to give anybody the opportunity to get into your head and give you their fears. Listen to what I said. You do not want the opportunity to let anyone get into your head and portray their fears on you. Okay? So that's one thing. The second thing is never, ever, 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 I'm going to say it again, never, ever, ever, ever quit. Never. Take a break if you have to, slow down if you have to, but never quit. Because eventually, think of it, your business like a muscle. You go to the gym, you work out, and eventually those muscles get bigger and they get stronger. But it takes a while to get there. It might take 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. Think of that as your business. But instead of days and months, it might take years. And the rule of thumb is the first to 5 years in business, that is your make or break right there. So, as far as, that, stay consistent. Consistency, I cannot tell you, is key. Show up, be present, and just continue to fight for your dream. And if you lose sight of your why, of why you're doing this, go back to the initial one.
Being confident in your value has been a key message I have shared with you on this podcast. When you are clear about the value you provide, you are unstoppable to get what you want. It's why Felicia's Unapologetically Me message is so good. But not everyone's going to be on board. And here's how Felicia deals with them.
Right. And I always tell people, I say, I call those people sideliners. You have to have the sideliners looking on, cheering you silently. But also, I tell people, I always shout out my haters. I love my haters. I do. And the reason why I love my haters is because they hold you accountable. They're looking every day to make sure you're posting, make sure you're growing, make sure you're doing the things that they don't want to see you do. So they, your friends, they'll be like, you know what? You don't want to do it today, John? Okay, you can do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes into next week. Next week comes into next month. Your haters are sitting there like, okay, what's she going to do today? What's she going to do today? And that gives me motivation. And I always say to them, I said, I laugh. I said, I'm going to have to get new haters because my old haters are starting to like me.
I've shared that there are 4 key steps to building your mid-career GPS: preparation, positioning, promoting who you are and what you do, and how you show up. As you listen to these best of clips, think about how they're all coming together to help you build your mid-career GPS. You have to know what you want and how to go after it. And if you don't know that, that's okay. It's why I'm here, as are my guests, to help you figure out whatever is next for you in your career. Next up is my friend Javier Lopez. Javier is the geek in chief at the GovGeeks. A lifelong civil servant, Javier and his wife Karen are the authors of the GovGeeks Guide to Government Resumes. If you are looking for a job in government, make sure to get their book. Javier talks about the power of knowing what he calls your true north and letting that guide you to whatever is next.
Well, absolutely. So going along with the idea about GPS, know what your true north is. I had the opportunity to hear from a good colleague of mine that said true power is not being able to make the other person do something. I want to be a supervisor so I can instruct people to do this. I want to be the assistant secretary so I have the power to make changes and all of that stuff. The true power is being able to know confidently what you want, what you don't want, and then the ability to just walk away. So if you have the chance to get a job, get a position, choose one that is a good fit for you, that it could be a great opportunity, great money and everything, but if it's not right for you, don't accept the position.
So many of my guests have talked about trusting their gut in some way. It's why it's a vital component to building your mid-career GPS. Now, in episode 74, I recently talked to Shelley Johnson about how to live to your full potential. When I asked her about her advice to help you build your mid-career GPS, she put an interesting spin on trusting your gut.
Really, it's quite simple. It's follow your gut, not your head. Your head's going to try to talk you out of things and sabotage and hijack you for safety. Follow your gut, because your gut always will lead you in the right direction. And if you feel like there's a boulder on you and you just hammer some things, like make that boulder into a pebble and just keep following your gut and following where you feel like your purpose is leading you, I think that there is no failure in that.
There's a powerful distinction between asking for what you want versus what you need. And when we show up and have that intentional conversation, we get the information we need to help us to decide whatever is next for our job and our career. In episode 76, I talked to Theresa McGeehan about being organizationally loyal as you grow your career. Theresa shares why asking questions is essential, especially for women in leadership roles.
You just need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be authentic to yourself, and you need to ask for what you want, because we can't read your mind. So those around you, if you don't ask, they can't help you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid, again, to say what you want. Skate that line of confidence and cocky. And especially as a woman, be confident in what you are, and be okay also saying, I'll get back to you. That's a great question, and I don't know the answer, but I'll get back to you. And that's okay.
One of my most popular episodes happened very early on when I launched the podcast. It's episode 13 about communicating your unique professional value. When she was my client, Clare Simmons and I did a lot of work helping her go really deep about why she's valuable as a project manager. This wasn't just surface stuff. Clare knows how she can help and why her help is needed. That's why companies look for someone like her. Clare has worked diligently at knowing her unique professional value and how she can help companies right now. She's a dynamic program and project manager who gets results.
Figure out what is your value statement? What are you going to bring to the table that's different than, John Doe? What is your expertise, and how can you showcase that's going to get the hiring manager's attention? If you think about it, you have 30 to 60 seconds or so to make an impression. So what's the one thing that you want to say and get out of the gate right away to catch their attention and keep the conversation going and keep their interest in you as a candidate?
Lastly, when I asked heart-based sales coach and LinkedIn success strategist Wendi Hatton about her advice to help you build your mid-career GPS, she leaned in on one piece of advice that is the bedrock for many people struggling with their mid-career journey.
Go with your heart. Do not what anybody else thinks. Just what is it that you have developed in your experience up to this point? What is it that you truly want in this part of your life, in this later part of your life? And what would make you the happiest?
You've heard great advice in this episode, but I want to be clear that when you listen to people who say things like, follow your heart, trust your gut, find your true north, that these things aren't cliches. Their advice comes from the hard work that each of them has done along their personal and professional journey. And how do we face our fears? We listen to our hearts. We get clear about what's going on in our brain to acknowledge our thoughts and determine the pathway that is best for us. Building your mid-career GPS takes time, and you're doing it right now. With careful and intentional planning, you are doing far better than merely building the plane while you're flying it, even though you may think that's what's happening. It's one of the many things that makes coaching so powerful. As a coach, I help my clients find the job they love or love the job they have. And my clients, they get promotions. My clients get job offers. Sometimes they get multiple job offers for positions they're excited to take. My clients do the necessary work so they can tell their story and come from a place of value and service differently than they've ever done. My clients are satisfied and happy with their careers, and my clients know where they can make the impact that they are capable of doing. My clients refuse to settle, and they go after whatever it is that they want. Now, if you're ready to make 2022 your year and are ready to start building your mid-career GPS, I want to invite you to a Get to Know You call. Now, a Get to Know You call is a free 15-minute phone or Zoom call, and it's really just a chance for us to get to know each other. There's no selling on the call. If the call goes well and you're interested in learning more about how I can help you as your coach, we'll schedule another call. And on that consult, I'll share more specifically about how I can help you as your coach and all that's involved. Look, 2021's been an interesting year. Never forget that you are in complete control of where your career is headed. It is time to start building your mid-career GPS and make 2022 the year that you find the job you love or love the job you have. This is my last episode for 21. When I started this podcast, it was on the heels of my previous podcast, Show Up 2020. And this year, I've dropped 78 episodes. I've interviewed 27 outstanding professionals and leaders, and I'm currently ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts on listennotes.com. The Mid-Career GPS podcast has been listened to on 4 continents and at least 13 different countries. Goal achieved and exceeded. And I thank you all for that. I am beyond proud of this podcast and cannot wait to reach more people and serve you more with great guest conversations and information that will help you figure out whatever is next for your career. At the time of this recording, I have been actively planning what's coming up in 22, and I'll be sharing that with you in our next episode on New Year's Day as we kick off 22 with the best intention to make this the best year yet. Remember, you build your mid-career GPS 1 mile or 1 step at a time, and how you show up matters. Happy New Year, my friends. I cannot wait to see what we get to create in 2022. If you enjoyed today's episode and don't want to miss another one, follow on Apple Podcasts or wherever you usually listen, and kindly remember to rate and review. Visit johnneral.com to download your free job search tracker and other free mid-career GPS resources right there on my homepage so you can start building your mid-career GPS. Come join my private Facebook group at Your Mid-Career GPS and join an amazing community of people like you who are all working to figure out whatever is next for themselves and their careers. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on social at John Neral Coaching. I'll see you next time.